Kenny's back. Tell a friend. Kenny's back. Kenny's back. Kenny's back. Kenny's back. Finally. Oh, and Mercedes wins gold. Let's talk about it.
Uh-oh.
Yes, boy!
French toast is the exchange student that you have like a 3-week affair with.
Hey, we can see that you don't have pants on.
Somebody hit somebody with a pie. Do something.
Giovanni yelling we're out of time as we go off the air.
Giovanni yelling a lot of things tonight.
And welcome to the Mark It Down podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mark It Down podcast, where I, James Giasanti, am here this fine Wednesday night, so you know what that means. We are here to cover AEW Dynamite and Collision. This was the go-home show for Full Gear this Saturday. Very excited for this show, which is going to be near our neck of the woods. I think they more or less did a good job with this show, setting us up for what to expect this weekend. You know, we've talked about it on the pod multiple times. AEW can be a little 50-50 when it comes to go-home shows. Sometimes they really knock it out of the park. Sometimes it's usually the episode before. And granted, they had a lot on their plate. Yep, got to acknowledge it. Our boy Rev here, not physically well today, but here with us in spirit and behind the computer. But unfortunately, only I get to see his pretty face tonight. But always happy to have him and not have to produce this on my own. Yes. But yeah, AEW also did have a tall order of not only setting up for Full Gear next week, but coming off of Blood and Guts from last week, which was an incredible show. What up, you know it? What's up, fella? What woods in New York are you from? All right, so I might not be from the woods, but I am from an island, okay? So there is interesting terrain abound. But I think once the dust has settled on Blood and Guts from last week, I know certain people have their opinions on what that show was. I very much enjoyed it. And we needed this breather in between Blood and Guts and the pay-per-view. It's going to be interesting to see if Toni ever decides to really put Blood and Guts on a pay-per-view as opposed to keeping it on TV. I think there's a reason. I think it's just to help prop up a Dynamite, which I totally get. But we'll see. Sometimes maybe it's worth it just so there's less like frantic feelings in between shows. But lot to cover tonight, as I said, was an AEW Dynamite and a Collision. Let's start all the way up at the top of the show. We're going to go to the main event of all 3 hours. We're going to go to Mercedes Moné versus Red Velvet for the undisputed Ring of Honor Women's World Television Championship. First of all, that's a mouthful. Second of all, for those wondering, I thought Mercedes already had this belt. Mercedes had the interim championship. What up, Maria? Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining us today. And yes, I do say us because Rev is here. You know what else is saying? Sorry, Rev. Didn't know about your voice. Was just making a random joke. Hope you get better soon. It's okay. I for him, I will say he forgives you, he loves you, and he accepts you. At least 2 of the 3 are true. I don't know. So Mercedes, who is the interim ROH Women's Television Champion, has been holding onto that belt while Red Velvet has been injured. She you know how AEW does it. If you're champion and you're injured and you know you're going to be back within a relatively quick amount of time, Toni lets you keep your belt. What Mercedes won from Mina Shirakawa was the interim championship, which kind of sucks because that means Mina was never champion. We were all just living a lie together. But as far as this match goes, I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed myself. I thought both women kind of brought some intensity to this matchup that I wasn't expecting. This was Red Velvet's first match back from injury. We haven't seen her wrestle, or I don't think even on TV really, since the injury occurred. Right back into the frying pan, as you say. And both of these women felt like they had something to prove. Mercedes, who just picked up another championship this last Saturday at House of Glory, not the House of Glory Women's Championship, mind you, but another championship while at that show. Mercedes really wanted this belt, it seems. She had something to prove. And Velvet, I guess, wanted to prove that she wasn't a footnote in this championship's history and wanting to prove that she couldn't just be walked over by Mercedes. And to her credit, she wasn't. This was, like I said, a high-intensity, hard-hitting matchup between these two women. There was a moment or two. Well, let me add, Kris Statlander was on commentary. Our AEW Women's World Champion, who Mercedes will be facing at Full Gear this Saturday. There was a moment or two where I thought maybe, just maybe, Velvet was going to pick up the upset win, surprise us all, retain her championship, and, put some doubt in Mercedes going into this Saturday at Full Gear. Just looking at the comments real quick. It's saying this match had the perfect ending. Didn't expect CEO doing that at the end of the show. It was very good. We're going to get to it. And Maria saying Mercedes makes everyone look good when they step in the ring with her. I am inclined to agree with you. Mercedes has had the occasional clunker here or there, but for the most part, she absolutely elevates her competition. And with the right opponent, can truly create magic in my fandom. I love Mercedes, and I'm going to be rooting for her. Mercedes also saying, Mercedes was just playing with Red Velvet. This match was never in question for us. First of all, I love that you're a team with her. Adore that for you. Second of all, we got to give Velvet some credit here. She brought the heat. She was cooking in that kitchen, as whatever this is. And like I said, I do think there was a moment or two where, especially Statlander got involved in the match when Mercedes was trying to cheat, and then Velvet gets a quick roll up. Velvet doing a great job of countering Mercedes' finish, her bank statement. No, that's Sasha's move. Whatever that move is, whatever the crossface is. Countering it into an arm bar, into a shoulder bar that popped the hell out of Brian on commentary, mind you. There were a couple of moments. Velvet countering, breaking statement maker. Thank you, mark it down. Velvet kicking out of the initial lung blower. Velvet countering another lung blower. It took Mercedes going to the top rope and hitting a top rope lung blower to take out Red Velvet. So great matchup between these two women. Absolutely just a fun matchup, back and forth. And I'd say a great showing for Velvet, who, now that she has officially dropped the ROH Women's Television Championship, she can maybe migrate back over to AEW and get involved in some things. We'll see. AEW's women's division could definitely use some bolstering. Obviously, we saw last week there are at least 12 stars in the division, but it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to sort of pad out the mid-card a little bit. So, good job on both. Just checking out these comments real quick. First of all, hi, Chris LeClaire. Thank you for being here. Yeah. Sky Blue and Julia Hart and Tekla all looked great in their quick segment. We'll definitely talk about that, but she did look good. What up, Dev? How you doing, pal? Thank you for being here. Hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you're having a good night. It's asking, who's Sasha? We all have past lives. We all have histories. We got to acknowledge that. No matter where we are now. After the match, Kris Statlander, who, again, was on commentary, watches as Mercedes Moné climbs the announce table, the commentary table, proudly showing off her new championship. What up, Fernando? How you doing, pal? Dynamite was fire tonight. Dynamite, Collision, great wrestling, great segments, great segue into Full Gear this weekend. As Mercedes is watching, I'm so sorry. As Stat is watching Mercedes celebrating with her championships, Stat puts up her own championship showing she is the AEW Women's Champion. She is not intimidated by Mercedes. Mercedes then chucks a belt at Statlander. It was rough. She just threw it at her. She then hits a Meteora and locks in the Statement Maker. Thank you, Rev. And making Stat tap. Now, granted, doesn't mean anything when you tap outside of a match. We're going to talk about that again a little bit later, although I might have a slightly different opinion on it because I'm biased one way or the other. But it doesn't really mean anything. But she's proving she's going to bring the heat to the AEW Women's Champion, just Kris Statlander, for this Saturday. It's going to be very exciting to see these two champions go at it. I am, again, conflicted on the fact that the TBS Championship is not getting defended, and instead it's going to be champion versus champion. I was there for that for All In, and while it was an incredible matchup, I still wish that the TBS Championship was defended. You know it, saying he was Spike Dudley in a different life. I believe you. For you, I will believe you. Dev saying that both Blood and Guts matches were great last week. I completely agree, Dev. I thought absolutely just fantastic wrestling, fantastic spots, great storytelling. The women showed up in their first ever Blood and Guts, and the men told a great story overall. So right there with you. Kris saying you don't turn your back on Mercedes Moné. Nope, she will break it and then make you tap. So fun main event between these two women. Glad they got to show off for the crowd who were very into it. Got to give it to this crowd in Boston. Mercedes' hometown. They were there all the way to the end of the show, and they showed up for their hometown girl, Mercedes. They were chanting for her. They were cheering for her. It was cool to hear. It was cool to see. Maria saying Blood and Guts felt like a pay-per-view. It did. And maybe that is the point I mentioned maybe like right before you joined us, that I don't know why Toni doesn't put Blood and Guts on a pay-per-view just to ease things out a little bit, as opposed to going from big show to big show and having to like book in between. But maybe it's because he does want Dynamites to feel like pay-per-views occasionally. I would just maybe try to space these out a little bit better if possible. Ooh, Maria with a bold, bold, bold statement. Kris Stat will submit on Saturday. I don't know. We shall see. You know it's saying, don't let Kyle O'Reilly hear a tap out doesn't matter. We're going to talk about it. I promise we're going to talk about it. And I told you, probably it's going to sound a little different because of some bias. My opinion may change. So excellent showing from these two women. Great storytelling amongst the three women, including Statlander, for this title. Happy to see them main event a show. Happy to see them main eventing TV. And looking forward to their matchup between Mercedes and Stat on Saturday. Rev, you take me where you think we should go. I trust. There you go. You were quick. I appreciate that. I respect the hell out of you, my producer man. Producer man. So, as we know, we are going to be crowning the first ever national champion, AEW national champion at Full Gear. Now, I specify AEW national champion because there was a little bit of a controversy because the lineage that MVP was discussing regarding the national champion, it was referring to the NWA National Championship. So they're making it very clear this is a different title. They're making it very clear. Toni has spoken to Smashing Pumpkins man himself, Billy Corgan. Needed to think about it for a split second. So we are going to have this Casino Gauntlet match at Full Gear to determine the champion, the inaugural champion. And this match between Bobby Lashley and Ricochet was to determine who the number one spot will go to. Now, if you guys don't remember how these Casino Gauntlet matches go, two men start in the ring together over a period of time, an interval. New opponents will be added to the match, and it becomes a multi-man match. First pin gets the win, gets the whole shebang. So technically, it could end with only two men in the ring. It could be up to 15, 20. I don't know how many people can end up in this matchup. But this has become one of AEW's staple matches. So to see, and we know, given the circumstances, opposite of the Royal Rumble, where you want to be the last guy in the ring, for a gauntlet match like this, you want to be one of the first two people to end this match as fast as possible, as quickly as possible, without any stress or strain from other opponents. Ricochet got Bobby came out first, flanked by MVP. Ricochet came out with the rest of the demand. Ricochet got on that mic and would not shut up. It was very impressive how much this man had to just gab. He just needed to let it out. Eventually, Bobby Lashley hears enough, picks him up for a massive choke slam / spine buster / whatever that one-arm standing ovation move he hits, tossing Ricochet out of the ring. And this match was quicker than a cup of coffee. You couldn't sip. It really did. Chris Leclerc absolutely agreed. This match was so fast. And now, that's not to say that things didn't happen in this match. They packed in a lot of action in a short amount of time. And sometimes that's cool. I don't really think that there is a long match that works between Bobby Lashley and Ricochet. A match like this should be a little bit more of a sprint. But I was shocked. I was not expecting it. Bobby landing some big power moves onto Ricochet. Ricochet doing his best to hit, run, dive, jump, all that stuff. Match eventually ends. Bobby 1, 2, 3 pinning Ricochet. I believe it was after a spear. Correct me if I'm wrong. 1, 2, 3. Bobby Lashley, our number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet match for Full Gear. Looking at the comments real quick. Chris Leclerc saying he watched the Women's Blood and Guts 20 times. He might watch it again. I don't blame you. It was incredible. Great wrestling. Fernando saying Kyle O'Reilly has been elevated. Absolutely. They've prepped this rocket for launch. They need to get the engines going on Saturday with a big win. It's saying Kyle looking bigger and bigger week by week, star treatment. Fingers crossed. Chris Leclerc saying Bobby yep, we're going to get into it in a second, but you are correct. Maria saying still not feeling this title. It's so excessive. I don't disagree with you, but I am getting swept up in the match. I am getting swept up in somebody being crowned a champion. I think that the mid-card desperately needs some freshness, with Okada holding on to the unified title as long as he has, with Kyle Fletcher holding on to the TNT title and doing a great job, mind you. The mid-card is very heel heavy right now, and I'm really hoping a babyface wins this title. Don't know who. I don't have my eyes locked on anybody, but it would be nice to see a babyface get elevated. Fernando saying Bobby Lashley is totally winning the national championship. That would be awesome. That would be really cool. Bobby deserves a singles title. Not sure. I'm not 100% convinced yet, but we'll see. I'm not saying no. Chris Leclerc saying Ricochet promo lasted longer than the matchup. Yep. No, absolutely. Maria saying that promo took way too long. I don't know if they just told him to go out and talk for as long as possible and they wanted to see how long he could do it. But man, he was rambling, my man. It's saying, yeah, it was too long. Yeah, for sure. Rev asking a great question. Wasn't it going too long, the point / the joke, though? Everyone got super annoyed at Ricochet and loved that Bobby was destroying him. I think I'm inclined to agree with Rev. Great minds think alike. I think this was just again, this matchup was never going to go too long. It doesn't work for their clash of styles, especially if you're trying to make Bobby look super strong, which they were. So I think they just wanted Ricochet to get some time doing something. So I'm not complaining. It's saying, yeah, Rev, but it still took a while for being the opening of the show. You know what? Not a bad point. Maybe it would have made sense to switch the matchups. Shelton and Speedball first. But I guess maybe they just want Bobby to be in the number one spot for a reason. So we'll see about that on Saturday. Tyler, what up, Tyler? How you doing? Thank you for joining us. Tyler's saying that he can't wait to see the MLW pay-per-view tomorrow night. What show is that, Tyler? Let me know. That way I can maybe try to check it out. It's been a while since I've covered MLW. I think it's been basically a year, maybe even 2, which is nuts to think about. But I'm gonna say it's been a year since I've covered MLW. But moving on, I enjoyed this matchup. It was fun, bombastic, very, very fast-paced, high-octane action. And while I understand the promo wasn't for everyone, I think it served what it needed to. That is a great point, Rev. MLW is Matt's domain. They've got some talent there. They do. It's just there's something about the production that it's been hard for me to really get invested into, but they have some strong talent there. Chris LeClaire is saying that the promo was 5 minutes and 23 seconds. That's nuts. Truly, I did not think it was that long. Maybe all together. Maybe the promo and the match, or maybe just the match. I don't know. But interesting. I would like to hear a stat on that. I'm just finishing something on Twitter here. And there you go. But yeah, moving on, I think, Rev, we had an Ops backstage promo where it was, of course, just Samoa Joe and Shibata, who is, of course, our AEW World Champion's opponent tonight, Hangman's opponent tonight. Joe saying, that is true, Tyler. We do have another Hog pay-per-view this Friday. Funny enough, I messed that up. We did have Matt, our own Matt Cascone, at the last Hog show, Super Clash on Saturday. Matt got a ton of great content while at the show. He took my place. I unfortunately couldn't make it. I was being a good godfather, but he got a bunch of great content, got to meet a bunch of the talent. Go check out our social media. Go check us out on Instagram when you can. He got to interact with Mercedes. He went to the big event earlier in the day. He got to interact with a bunch of the talent there. Go check it out. Hog is great. It is our local indie here at the pod. We love them. We support them as much as we can. So, yeah, that'll be great. But, yeah, Samoa Joe getting on the mic. They were, of course, one man down. No Powerhouse Hobbs. As they explained, as Joe explains, Hangman sent him to the hospital. He said he starts to talk about all the transgressions Hangman has against the Ops, and it's time for some payback. It's time for his penance. He said Shibata is going to start it tonight, the payback, and Samoa Joe is going to collect the rest on Saturday. Shibata then gets on the mic, cuts a promo in Japanese, and I was surprised. This was an intense Shibata. We haven't really heard this from him. You know, I don't know what he said, but I wouldn't want to wrestle that. Moving on. We then go. It's funny because Rev has rightfully as the Young Bucks backstage interview, but that's not quite what happened. But I'll get to that in a second. Tyler saying MLW Don Gatto live special this Thursday, 8 p.m. for free. All right, cool. Good for MLW putting on a free show for the fans online. Definitely going to check that out. Going to enjoy. Maybe we'll see if I'm going to cover it. TNA is on my last nerve. Let me tell you guys, TNA is on my last nerve. It's saying, loved hearing Joe on the headset tonight. It was cool. We'll get to that in a second. Tyler's saying, I can't wait to see AEW pay-per-view. It's going to be a banger. Totally agree with you, Tyler. I have high hopes for this. Rev saying, heel Shibata is going to be fun. I'm inclined to agree. A guy just known as the Wrestler. It's going to be something. It's going to be rough. But going back to this, with the Young Bucks, it was intended to be an interview. Well, it was kind of intended to be like a look back at a clip, I guess, with Kenny and the Bucks. But we go backstage where the Bucks are watching clips of their time with Kenny, the Elite. They get interrupted by Renee Paquette, who asks them about this Saturday, what's going on with the Don Callis family. But before they could even get a word out, the man himself comes, Don Callis. Comes out, tells Renee to back off. They'll answer in their own time. Maybe after their match tonight, after their trios match tonight. He goes on to say that he really hopes they have an answer, that they will, he'll go all out for them. He's even going to do a very special entrance for them. He knows how much they love that. And the whole family will be there to celebrate. Fun little moment. They're really hyping up the Bucks. I guess being conflicted, the Bucks not knowing really where their allegiances lie. Don't get me wrong, I am all for the change. I am all for the Bucks realigning with Kenny. I am all for babyface Bucks again, even though I think they are way funnier as heels. But, and I'm going to talk about it again in a bit after we talk about the post-match. A lot of it doesn't ring true to me, considering some of the absolutely heinous shit they were doing earlier this year, later last year. Just doesn't feel real. But I'm willing to accept some things to get what we want. Sometimes it's okay to not care about the journey if we get a good destination. Sometimes. Tyler saying, I heard that Prestige Wrestling is going to be out of business soon, shaking my head. My advice is go on support your small pro wrestling business in your state. I agree. Always support your local indie. Always support your local indie. You never want to see a company to go out of business, no matter the size, just because it's another place for some people to work. Whether it's big names coming to town to get some reps, local talent who use that indie as their home base so that they can establish themselves, get better, get bigger, get on the radar of other companies. Big fan of indies. It's affordable, fun wrestling for fans. Should always try and enjoy it. Maria asking a great question, and I'll post Rev's answer too. Maria asking, are the fans willing to cheer the Bucks? I think just with the nature of how they wrestle, fans are always inclined to cheer them in matches. I mean, if you're a fan of that type of wrestling, there are people who hate it, and I don't strongly agree with those people. Let's say I'd even strongly disagree with those people. But all that said, I think fans are willing to overlook a lot if they get what they want. The Elite as a unit, the Bucks being cornermen for Kenny, I think these are things that the fans kind of want to see. So we'll accept it. We'll cheer for it in some ways. But the Bucks need to look like they care. And they have for a while now. They've really been amping it up. So if they're delivering at the level that they have been, I think fans are going to show up for it. Rev saying, I think they're getting close, Maria. Their great matches of late have been helping. I think that, like I said, I think that's a big factor, and I'm inclined to agree with you, Rev. Tyler asking, do we think, or do I think Megan Bayne is going to join the Death Riders? I don't think so. I think this was a tag team of convenience. I think they really wanted Megan in the tournament. And with how Marina has been building herself and establishing herself as this threat, there are very few people that are on Megan Bayne's level of violence and aggression, and Marina fits the bill. I think this is a temporary tag team building off of what they were establishing for Blood and Guts. And I think sooner than later, I don't think it's necessarily going to be a violent split. I just think it's going to be a split. And we'll see Penelope Ford back with Megan Bayne when she's healthy enough to do so, which, of course, we are wishing her a speedy recovery. Next, we go to that trios match as we have the Young Bucks teaming with Josh Alexander against Skyflight. Now, I am a Scorpio Sky apologist. Will not explain, will not elaborate. The guy was great, had the best looking TNT championship of all time, was at one point primed to be the first black AEW men's world champion. I don't know what happened. Fall off was hard. I think it was injuries. I think it was a bunch of stuff. I'm just happy he's back on TV again. And he's teaming with Top Flight. Now, I know this is mostly either a Collision team or even a Ring of Honor team more really. But I'm just happy they were on Dynamite. I just really was. I knew the moment I saw the graphic for this, I knew they were losing. I don't care. I love everything about them. I love Scorpio. I love Darius. I love Dante. I love Layla Gray. I love Christopher Daniels. This is a fun unit to me. And this was a fun matchup. All right, I'll hit the comments real quick. It's saying Marina and Ford will have to duke it out. Maybe. I don't know that they have to. Sometimes we do just see these teams dissipate. It was a team of convenience. They serve their purpose. If they lose, I think they're just going to split. They're not really a team in the first place. Maria saying this match was great. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No. This match was a squash. It was, for the most part, this was a showcase for the Bucks and Josh Alexander to look like an actual team, to look like an actual trio. That way they have some juice going into this matchup against Kenny and Jurassic Express on Saturday. But I do think that they got some fun spots in. I do think this was a fun high flyer versus high flyer matchup. And like I said, I was just mostly happy Scorpio Sky was on TV. Finish of the match coming with Dante taking the loss 1, 2, 3. After the match, as they're in the ring, Kenny Omega comes out finally, confronts the Bucks, confronts Josh Alexander, really gets in Josh's face. Dan asking, where is Rev? Who is this guest host? I don't know. Could be worse. Could be a Chris host. You know what? I did not kick him. I did not kick him from the show. It's been a while since you've been here. Ah, there you go. Thank you. I messed up the finish there. I appreciate that, Rev. Dante got shoved off the top rope into a TK driver. Then Josh put him in the ankle lock, and that was the finish. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't specify, guys. After the match, Kenny comes out, immediately goes after Josh Alexander, just bringing the pain to him, bringing the heat to him. The Bucks stop him, I guess kind of begrudgingly. They weren't too thrilled to get involved. Kenny's just asking, what the hell? Why are you doing this? Stop doing this. Josh attacks him, goes after the leg, takes out the knee, and then locks him in the ankle lock. That's when Don Callis comes in and says, stop. Don't do this. Let them do it. I did skip a little bit here. Of course, the Callis family, Don, who was at ringside doing commentary, doing the whole bit, wants to know the Bucks answer. We have all of these guys out there. We have Hechicero. We have who else was out there? A few members. I think Rocky Romero was out there. We had a few members of the family, and they want the Bucks answer. The Bucks still struggling. Archer, Mark Davis, thank you. The Bucks still struggling with this decision. That's when Kenny gets involved. Fast forward, Kenny's now in the ankle lock. Don says, you don't need to say anything. You don't need to give me your answer. You don't need to tell me your answer. You could show me your answer. Hit, and he does a beautiful, hilarious version of the BTE trigger, just flailing about in the ring, throwing knees. Hilarious. The Bucks have Kenny, look like they're going to do it, but are very, very, very hesitant. And that's when Jurassic Express comes out to make the save. Jungle Boy coming out with a gigantic, oversized shovel. And Luchasaurus coming out with a goddamn vacuum cleaner. It was really funny. It was really, really silly. They make the save. They protect Kenny. And the baby faces stand tall in the ring as the heels scamper away. Fun guy. Fun stuff. Not what I was expecting for Kenny's return, but I'm okay with it. We got a little more later on. Going to the comments real quick. Damn. Was Andrade out there? According to Tony Khan, he is welcome back the moment he's available to. Go check out the RL Hawani interview. You know it, saying he kind of wishes Jungle Dudes didn't show up. Why? How dare you? You wanted Kenny to get hurt. Shameful. Tyler saying, I'm calling it now. Number 14 is coming for Mercedes Moné. You know, I don't know. Our pod has been debating a lot lately about who's been handling the mid-card championship reign better between Becky and Mercedes. I think after Monday, I'm sorry to tell you this, Maria, I think all signs are pointing to Becky, and that pains me to say as a Mercedes mark myself, but we'll see. Rev saying, a dinosaur with a vacuum cleaner is why wrestling is better than everything you like. I agree. And he broke the vacuum cleaner. Fuck. Dan saying, not gonna lie, he's out on Mercedes if she beats Stat. All right, well, let me ask you, please elaborate. Is it because she's beating Stat or because she's winning the title? It's two different things. Let me know. You know it, saying, so the Bucks and Kenny would be back, James. Come on, man. They were going to hit him, dude. They had him set up for it. I don't believe that. I think Saturday we're going to see the redemption and the rejoining, but I think they were going to knock him out tonight. I'm glad Jurassic Express was there. Dan saying both. He doesn't want to see Mercedes win the world title, and he doesn't want her to beat Stat. Fair enough, I suppose. I'm not opposed to Mercedes winning the world title. I wish for Stat's sake she doesn't win it this quickly off of her, but eventually it's going to happen. It should happen. It absolutely should happen. But I would be happy to see her drop the TBS title first. Sorry, Maria. Please don't kill me. Maria saying Mercedes is clear in a way more superior than Becky. Damn. I'm not getting involved in the fight. Rev saying, if anything, they're saving that for Saturday. You know it. That's in regards to Kenny and the Bucks reuniting. I completely agree. Dan, going back to the notions of Mercedes winning and beating Stat, that winning the title was bad, beating Stat is bad. And I agree with this notion. Dan saying he does not want Mercedes winning the title while being TBS champion. I agree with that. I agree with wholeheartedly. There are very few instances where I want to see the mid-card champion also win the world championship. It's very, 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 very rare. This is not one of those instances. Not when Mercedes also has 13 other championships or 12 other championships and 13 other belts. Moving on. Let's do this, Rev. I'm not saying it. I'm not calling them that. I refuse. This was a fun promo with Willow Nightingale and Harley Cameron backstage with Renee Paquette. Maria, I'm sorry. I'm trying to stay out of it. We'll move on. They are ready for their to continue on into the tag team tournament to be the inaugural tag team champions. They talk about performing in Blood and Guts. They make a quick joke about how they made Sky Blue bleed, but she kept smiling. And Willow's like, that's my thing. Maybe I didn't hit her hard enough. I thought that was hilarious. I thought that was really cute. Harley really hyping them up. I'll say it in this instance, in this only. Harley asks, what are we? Babes. What do we have? Wrath, according to Harley. It was a funny bit. It was cute. I like these two as a team. I think they have great chemistry. It's just weird. We're so far past the fact that it should be Willow and Stat teaming up. Like, I don't care about this bullshit drama anymore. It feels so fake. It feels so manufactured at this point. I stand by. I almost don't want to see them reunite, but it is weird that it's not the two of them. So, anyway. I said what I said, and I'll say it again. I'll leave it at that. Dan saying, I mean, no offense, Maria. It's saying this Dan guy is sharp. You should do a podcast. Dan lying and saying they don't let me anymore. You are welcome any day of the week that isn't Sunday. Any day of the week. If you want to do it on Sunday, go for it. I just cannot commit my time to it. That's the only thing. Go for it. We love you. We miss you. And you add so much to this pod. Tyler saying Kyle O'Reilly versus John Moxley at Full Gear is a no hold. We'll get to that in a bit. But yeah. Next one, Rev. Yes, we go to our second match for the Casino Gauntlet match at Full Gear. Any day, but it can't be the only way. You can't say the only day that works for you is one day, take it or leave it. You got to meet me halfway. Somewhere in the middle. It's true. We have great chemistry. I do. We'll figure something out. Tyler saying, imagine what happened. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. But the second match for the Casino Gauntlet, we have Speedball Mike Bailey taking on MVP. I mean, Shelton Benjamin. I'm sorry. That would have just been the funnier matchup. I'm not going to lie to you guys. This was a fun match. This was a hard-hitting match. They got some good strikes in. I liked the story that they were telling that MVP was getting frustrated with Shelton, that he felt that Shelton was playing too much. This is something that they've touched upon in the past in AEW when it comes to Shelton, that MVP would get mad at him for not just going for the kill. They did this during, I think, his C2 appearance last year, and I like the concept of it, that these guys, the Hurt Business guys, have an agenda. They just want to win. It's not about showing off. It's not about being flashy. It's about winning, and it's about hurting. And Shelton, who is this natural, incredible athlete, wanting, just not being able to help himself from showing off a little bit, and sometimes getting in his own way with that, that's a great story. And it's something that I could see them playing on. The middle of Sunday. Like that, you're a frustrating man. I love you, but you're terrible. Like I said, there were some fun spots up in this matchup between the two of them. Both of them told a good story. There's some good action, but I am just so taken aback by the horrible display of refereeing that was the end of this matchup. I think there needs to be a seminar for these referees. And it's not one company. It's not AEW or WWE or TNA. It's all of them. They all need a refresher on what you should be doing in situations like this. Sometimes the rule of cool is more important than the actual rule. Finish of the match coming. Shelton countering Speedball and then hitting a massive super kick. spun Speedball out. 1, 2, 3. The referee calls only a 2 because at some point during the pin, Speedball puts his arm on Shelton's back, and it looks like it elevated his shoulder slightly off the mat. Anybody with a pair of eyes can see that this was not a kick out, should not have been a kick out. And more importantly, how does the ref not know the finish here? I know sometimes they aren't told, so it could be a genuine reaction. This was not that type of important matchup where you need to protect the finish. It was super silly to see. MVP got in the ring because he thought the match was over. They not even restarted the match, but the match just continued. Shelton hitting just a massive German suplex onto Speedball, then his running knee into the corner, and then another super kick. 1, 2, 3. Finally, Shelton gets the win. Shelton looked frustrated after this matchup. I don't know if it was to sell how tough Speedball was, or he was just legitimately frustrated with the referee. But silly finish, silly way to handle this. And again, it feels like a problem across companies. No matter the letters of your company, it feels like refs have just been messing up lately. And I just don't know how you do it. I don't get it. Speaking of bad refs, crooked Jessica Carr. Look, I was there on Monday. I was happily cheering for Maxine. I'm sorry. Becky killed it as champ, but I was happily rooting for Maxine. Jessica Carr had every right to confront Becky Lynch. Anyway, going to other comments, it saying the 3 count, no 3 count confused me, which isn't that hard. No, you're in good company. You know it. It was silly. Maria bringing up a good point. Now with the winner of this, the first 2 spots of the matchup are both Hurt Syndicate guys. It is Shelton Benjamin in the number 2 spot, Bobby Lashley in the number 1 spot. Now, what's interesting is they have acknowledged the concept of these 2 guys fighting in this gauntlet match. MVP was asked about this either last week or 2 weeks ago, and he kind of brushed past it. It'll be interesting to see these 2 guys go at it. It's only going to be for a few minutes until the third competitor joins the match. Theoretically, if it doesn't end in those 5 minutes, and as we saw, Bobby could end these matches quickly. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's why Bobby beat Ricochet so quickly. They wanted to show that Bobby has the potential of ending the match very early before somebody gets in there. Interesting concept, interesting to think about. I think the bigger deal is if they are going to start maybe splitting up the Hurt Syndicate. I really hope not. But I don't see them going for the tag titles again. They failed going for the trios titles on several occasions. Maybe they do. I don't know. I think it would be silly to split them up. It feels very premature, but maybe they are sowing the seeds. We'll see. Thanks, pal. I don't drink it, but I'm glad it'll be there. Rev saying, so you're putting this on Paul Turner? I thought Speedball legit got his clock cleaned and then didn't kick out. Here's the thing. I don't think so, because if he was legitimately knocked, they would have ended the match there. Shelton then hit 2 moves to the head. Obviously he's a professional. Obviously he's safe. I don't think you have to really worry. I think this was the ref botching, and I think if there was a concern about his health and safety, they would have either just had him pin him again, roll him up, not hit a knee and then a super kick. Why risk it? Yep, that's what I thought it was too. Speculation on Reddit is Speedball was thanking him for the match with a squeeze and Turner misread it. I think that's what it was too. And that's why, like, you got to be better than that. Like, granted, maybe he should have waited to thank him with that squeeze, but that's standard in wrestling. That's just a natural thing. His shoulder did not really raise, and it wasn't dramatic enough to think it was a kick out. Maria agrees this was a huge ref botch. I'm inclined to agree with you. Asking, are these refs fired NFL refs? Rude. We're mad at the AEW refs and the WWE refs. We're not that mad at them. They're not that inept. Fernando saying it's time to bring back Bobby Lashley, the monster. Look, I think Bobby going on a tear and winning a singles title is a great idea. Multiple people have brought it up, but I don't know. I'm not sure what this means for the Hurt Syndicate. All right. Dan saying, don't trust people who don't drink coffee. I'm sorry, I'm out here raw dog in reality. No substances, no enhancements. This is just me. Just me, oos. Those people are psycho. I'm not psycho. Or children in a trench coat. You know it. Chat poll. Who is worse? Refs, wrestling, NFL, NBA, NHL, or baseball? Who is that guy for baseball? Angel something. Worst ump in the history of refereeing, umpiring, whatever you want to call it. Officiating. That's the word I'm looking for. Just to go back to this coffee thing real quick, Dan. My parents ran a cafe for the first 8 years of my life. 7, 8 years of my life. I was surrounded by it for so long. It might have even been longer. It might have been like the first 10 years of my life. I was surrounded by it for so long. I never want to smell coffee ever again. I've only ever tasted it once in my entire life. Tyler saying, I'm calling it now. Marina, Shafir, or Pac, or Claudio is the new leader of the Death Riders incoming. We'll talk about it. Lots of choices here. Lots of choices. BX and Dan both agreeing it's Angel Hernandez. We're all in agreement. Just the worst umpire / official in sports, wrestling, anything history. I come from coffee. Yeah, I did. Cafe Rio. Love. That's the secret ingredient. And just being from Brazil. This tweet. I'm alive. So this tweet is from Speedball Mike Bailey. Thank you, producer man. I'm alive. Shelton Benjamin is a legend. I'm disappointed I won't be number 2, but I can still win the Casino Gauntlet Battle Royal for the AEW National Championship at AEW Full Gear. I always keep fighting because jet speed is always up. Thank you for your concern. Yeah, I don't think he's hurt. Maybe there was concern. But nah, man, I think this was just a fuck up. But no matter what, I'm glad he's okay. That is the most important thing. That is what we're going to focus on. He's okay. God willing, he'll be in the matchup on Saturday. And it's probably the match I'm most excited to see on Saturday. Dan saying he loves Pac. We all love Pac. Pac is great. And bad haircut or not, we love him. Reb saying Speedball isn't dead. Hooray! It was such a shot. It looked real. I think the flip, like he flipped. He flipped after a super kick. You have to be somewhat cognizant to pull that off. I don't think he was. I don't think he was hurt. Next, please. All right, we go. Now we can deal with some of these comments from Tyler and from everyone else. We have a trio, a tag team match as the Death Riders, Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli, took on Orange Cassidy and Roderick Strong. So this just confirms Roderick is 100% part of the conglomeration, right? No matter what he wants to say. He's just absolutely a member at this point. This was a fun matchup. There was a lot of storytelling here, especially in the finish, which is what we're going to focus on. As by the end of it, we had all the members of the Death Riders, except for Pac, I think. Yeah, Pac wasn't there. We had Danny Garcia, Marina Shafir, and Wheeler Yuta on the outside. And as commentary pointed out, it took basically 4 men from the Death Riders to really take down Orange Cassidy. As Orange is chasing Wheeler Yuta around the ring, he gets back in the ring and runs into a huge pop-up European uppercut. The battle between the Orange Punch and the European uppercut will just not die. This immediately knocks out Cassidy. And then Jon Moxley runs in like a vulture, a scavenger, and locks in the his submission, his chokehold. Referee calls it right then and there. I was a little intrigued. I was a little upset. I was a little frustrated because, one, Orange is taking a lot of losses lately. It feels like he's the pin guy for the conglomeration, which no bueno, no like. Beyond that, I was surprised that they gave a win to Mox. Now, again, commentary did point out, they acknowledged that they thought it was Claudio who really got the win there because he's the one who knocked out Orange, or seemed to have knocked out Orange, setting up for Mox to lock in the submission. So it was just Mox picking off of Claudio's work. That is intriguing, and that I do like, but it didn't even look like Claudio was upset. It didn't look like he was frustrated at all with Moxley for doing so. So Mox getting a win during this losing streak, there's some depth to it. I'll take it. It's made better by superhero Thor Kyle O'Reilly. Music playing, getting the crowd hype, rushing to the ring, going right after Mox, locking in the ankle lock and not going down. As he's locked in this ankle lock onto Moxley, we have Wheeler Yuta and Daniel Garcia repeatedly kicking him while he is laughing, locking in on Mox. It's at this point that they get thrown out of the ring by Roderick and by Orange. Orange clearinghouse hitting some orange punches. He had some beautiful orange punches in the matchup against Mox, by the way. And even then, after throwing him out of the ring, Kyle still has him locked in on that ankle lock, making Mox tap out. It takes all the members of the Death Riders to pull Mox out of the ring to save him. And then as they're retreating, going through the crowd, Kyle gets on the mic and says, "I want to fight you, Mox. I want to fight you this Saturday at Full Gear. And just because I want everybody to chant, 'I made you tap out,' we're going to make this no holds barred." Love it. Excited for it. Nervous for it, because they have such an opportunity here to strap the Rocket, to make him a star, Kyle O'Reilly. In the news that unfortunately it seems like maybe Adam Cole has to retire and he might not ever be able to wrestle again, I would love to see Kyle O'Reilly rise up and take his place. It'd be great. He's likable. He's great in the ring. There's just something about him that's worth cheering, and I'm here for it. Going to the comments real quick. Mahabub Sheik, pleasure. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce that correctly. Mercedes Moné is the greatest. Maria, you've got company in our comments here. First of all, welcome. Thank you for joining. Thank you for checking us out. Hope you're having a good time. Hope you enjoyed Dynamite tonight and Collision. Going back to this and going back to the rest of the comments, Fernando saying Kyle O'Reilly has Moxley's number. You'll love to see it. You'll love to see it. He looks like a hitman. He looks like just an assassin, gunning for that knee, gunning for that ankle, gunning to take out Mox. And he's been doing it consistently. Really cool to see. Maria saying that she's happy to see Kyle in a big spot. I think we all are. Dev saying it sucks for Adam Cole. It does. Look, we don't know. We just know what we've heard through the grapevine. Tony Khan seems pretty pessimistic, unfortunately. But he's still showing a lot of love to Cole. All we can do is hope for the best, give him more positive energy, root for him, pull for him, and be there to support him no matter what the next step in the journey is. Dan saying, all my homies love Kyle O'Reilly. Hell yeah. Kyle's cool Kyle. If I had a jean jacket on, I'd pop the collar right now. So yeah, let's see how this goes on Saturday. This match was good. I'm really hoping for a bounce back for Orange. I hope he gets a big win soon. He needs it. And Roderick's just been killing it. He feels like the secret weapon of the conglomeration, who has just been an absolute, just come in, chop people, break backs, support the team. Love it. Here for it. You go, Roddy. There you go, Maria. See, you got some support. This is a community here. All right, Rev, if you could take us to the next. We go to a Brodito backstage promo. It was pretty quick. They're talking about their opponents, FTR. They sing the praises of FTR, saying they're one of the greatest tag teams of all time. They've shown time and time again that they can accomplish almost anything. The only thing they haven't shown is that they could beat Brodito. So they will not take these AEW World Tag Team Championships away from them at Full Gear. And as Bandito says, Brodito never stops fighting. Love it. Love it. Rooting for them. Now that I'm on the Brodito train, they are absolutely going to lose. Next, we go elsewhere backstage as Kenny and Jurassic Express, really just Kenny, cuts a promo talking about what happened earlier in the night. He says, despite this $1 million match, he never thought that money could buy family. He never thought that money could buy friends. But the Bucks, Don, they've shown him that he was wrong. He talks about Josh Alexander having broken Kota Ibushi's leg. Says that made this personal when he celebrated that. Kenny's coming for them. So guys, count your dollars, count your money. He's coming for you. Enjoy your night because come Full Gear, he's going to kick their ass. I'll take it. Going to the comments real quick. Tyler saying it's time to build new stars for AEW's roster without Will and Swerve. Look, I think we're going to get them back sooner than later. I don't know how. I think we still have a little bit of time left, but I think the countdown clock is in our favor in terms of getting Will and Swerve back. And we do have some stars still. We have Orange. We have Darby. We have a rising Kyle Fletcher. We have a rising Mark Briscoe, something I never thought I'd say. We have Kenny, who's still ripping and roaring. We have Moxley, who's still ripping and roaring. Hangman, goes without saying, our world champion, killing it. Okada, Samoa Joe. I think we've been in good hands without Swerve and Ospreay, even though, yes, of course, we do miss them. You know it. Yeah, unfortunately, you did miss the Kyle talk, but I'll just reiterate it again for you. The guy's awesome, deserves any win that is coming. As we've pointed out in the comments before, we had some in the past, absolutely should win a singles championship of some sort. I wouldn't say no also to Roddy and him winning the tag titles instead, but good things for Kyle O'Reilly, who's absolutely earned it. Maria saying Cope and Christian are getting involved in costing FTR the tag titles. It's possible. It is very possible. I don't know. I think it's more likely, as Rev just beat me to it, Rev thinks FTR might win so that Cope and Christian can beat them for the titles later. I think that's the more realistic outcome here. It's a shame because Brodito has killed it and they have been such a fun tag team. They have been incredible tag team champions. Just putting on banger after banger after banger. But if you're going to losing to FTR is not a bad way to go down. And it does feel like Cope and Christian are destined to win those tag titles. Tyler's question, which kind of blows where I was going. Tyler asking, when is MJF coming back? I kind of have it in my head. He's going to win the national championship. I think he's going to be the inaugural champion, having cost either Bobby or Shelton the title. We'll see. Rev saying, not sure, but it depends on his filming schedule, which has been busy. It has been keeping him busy. And Tyler saying he's calling it now. MJF is probably going to come back at the end of the year. Maybe. We'll see. Like I said, I have it in my head. He's coming back during the Gauntlet match and he's going to win the title. But I don't know. That's just baseless speculation from me. We then go into what was one of my favorite matches of the night, as we had our AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship Tournament quarterfinal match, as the Timeless Love Bombs. First of all, that name's a mouthful. Take on Alex Windsor, and Riho. First of all, their entrance. No notes. Incredible. Bravo. Do it again. More. Loved it. Love this matchup. I think all 4 women had chemistry. I think all 4 women had fun spots. I think they paired well against each other, with Mina primarily against Riho and Toni primarily against Windsor. Toni and Windsor having a history as a brief tag team in their own right. And you saw that chemistry kind of play out in this matchup a little bit. I don't want to be a nitpicker. I don't want to complain. It did frustrate me a little bit that Mina and Toni, and honestly, every woman who was in Blood and Guts, kind of no-sold Blood and Guts. I gave Megan and Marina a pass because they were on the winning team. They didn't take as much damage. But Mina should have been busted for this matchup. There should have been fear that she couldn't go in this matchup. And they kind of just acted like it never happened. I'm never thrilled when you do that. The men did it a lot better this year, that most of them weren't even on the show. Obviously, Mox and Claudio, they wrestled as if nothing happened, but I'm so used to it with Mox that it's not surprising. The man is just walking scar tissue. But I don't know. It bummed me out considering we saw Mina be the one who caused Toni to quit for their matchup. You would expect a little more heat. You would expect a little more vulnerability, but we never got it. The finish of the match, after a lot of shenanigans, after a lot of fun and a lot of good action, came with Toni and Mina putting Riho and Windsor in the corner, sitting down. They hit stereo back to back, running hip attacks, we'll call it. And then Toni hitting Storm Zero onto Windsor. 1, 2, 3. The timeless love bombs progressing in the tournament. For better or for worse. I'm going to be a little upset when they win. Just a little bit. But happy for them too, because they are a very credible team. Going to the comments real quick. You know it's saying, happy to see Riho again. Always love seeing Riho on my TV. Rev saying, it's amazing how much chemistry Toni and Alex have, even when they're on opposite sides of each other. I agree. They often say sometimes that the best tag teams also make the best opponents and vice versa. So the chemistry is there no matter what side of the match they're on. So I thought that was cool. Tyler saying that he's going to be honest with me. He likes... I'm going to be honest with you. I like seeing MJF join the Death Riders and what happens to that storyline with MJF and the Hurt Business. I think MJF dealing with the Hurt Syndicate, like I said, I think that's going to play into the Gauntlet match. I never liked how that played out. I did not like how they got rid of him from the team, and it just never got acknowledged again. Everything about that felt very premature. There was some very clear backstage shenanigans going on there. But we'll see. I don't know about him joining the Death Riders. It doesn't really feel like his speed. It doesn't really feel like his vibe. But MJF historically has great stories when he's surrounded by people or factions. So who knows? Anything could happen. Maria saying Mina was bandaged up on Collision. And I get that. I do. But a week later and she's moving as if she's 100% fine. I don't know. It's saying commentary tried, but I'm right. Look, I know I'm nitpicking. I know, but it just felt a little off. That's it. It was still a great matchup. I'm still very happy. In the grand scheme of things, I'll be fine. But a little annoying. Next, please, Rev. We then go backstage as Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe are being interviewed by Alicia Atout, who asks, why would they agree to such high stakes in their matchup? Those high stakes being title Fletcher's title on the line versus Briscoe putting up that if he loses, he joins the Don Callis family. Fletcher says he's not worried at all. They've wrestled 5 times and he's already won 3 of those matchups. And come Saturday, it's going to be 4. He says he's very excited that Mark Briscoe agreed to this stipulation because it just means when he joins the family, there's going to be no kicking and screaming. He can't wait to see what Mark Briscoe can do with a real family behind him. Mark gets fired up and he says, don't talk to him about family. Every time he comes out, he represents his family and he signals his Briscoe Brothers shirt. He talks about going to war with his family, his ring family, and the conglomeration. As he's getting revved up, he gets attacked from behind by Okada and I believe it was Hechiseto. I'm not entirely sure. There's just so many members and I'm not paying attention to every one of them. They hold him up. They beat him down. Don Callis says Mark Briscoe might be trying to feed his kids, but Don Callis is going to make his kids orphans come Saturday. Dark fucking line. Really? Whoa. Yikes. Fletcher goes to Okada and he says, I really appreciate you not agreeing to no physicality, which I thought was a funny line. Okada says, I'm happy to do anything I can for you, especially things that Takeshita can't do for you. Don't forget, Proto Okada. I hate that it sounds so good. I hate it. We are very much building towards this Okada versus Takeshita explosion, and we'll see how that goes and what side of the fence Kyle Fletcher lands on. Going to the comments again real quickly. It's saying, would have been funny if Sky Blue was still bleeding during her pro. It would have. She definitely had the little scars. She definitely still had like the little scabs. But yeah, that would have been funny. Maria saying Mark should win. I am of the belief he should win. I feel bad because I don't think Fletcher's title reign should end yet. But I think if he's going to get dragged into whatever Don Callis family drama there is, the TNT title doesn't need to be in it. And I also have no desire to see Mark Briscoe get sucked into the Don Callis family. Let him win the title. He's earned it as far as I'm concerned. Tyler saying he thinks MJF should start his own faction with Hammerstone and himself and one or other members. Depends on Hammerstone's availability. I know he's contracted to MLW. I don't know how long that contract is for. I would love to see that. Like, they've done the crossover here and there between MJF and Hammerstone in MLW. It'd be cool. It would absolutely be cool. And considering it seems you're either team WWE or you're not, I'd like to see MLW on the not side, because especially they have a history of anti-WWE issues. So, yeah. Time will tell on that one. All right, Rev, what do you got for me? We then go to a fun little vignette, a fun little promo package with Pac. Pac apologizes to Darby Allin, saying, I'll be honest, I missed a little bit of this promo because I was getting ready for other stuff. He apologizes to Darby because he promised him a fight. He promised him a match, and they will have that match this Saturday at Full Gear. Again, guys, I'm sorry. This one's on me. I didn't really get to pay full attention to this promo. But Pac looks really cool. They're definitely setting him up for something important. Hold on, I'm going to check this. Yeah, he promised to break Darby's neck. Thank you, Rev. Appreciate you. They're definitely setting up Pac to feel like the front man for this new group. They're setting him up to, like, he's been cutting a lot of promos. He's been getting a lot of face time. And as we all suspect that Mox's time in the Death Riders is coming to a close and they need a new leader. And we talked about it even in these comments. It could be Marina. It could be Claudio. But it feels like they're setting up Pac. Marina could very easily stick with Mox. And Claudio, while I would love to see him as the leader, unfortunately, his promo skills have just never been the best. I think he's a lot better than what people give him credit for. But when you're the leader of a group, you need to be able to cut a promo very well. So maybe he just stays as the muscle, like the imposing figure in the back. But who knows? We'll see. Going to the comments again, it's saying I'm okay with the other Kyle losing as long as he moves up to bigger and better things. I agree. I think he's still too early for him to go for the world title, but maybe a shot here or there wouldn't be the worst thing. Rev saying if Mox goes, Pac is the best promo in the group. I agree. It's saying Yuta is the leader. Long game. Absolute long game from the Young Buck. That'd be funny to see. All right, Rev, set us up for what's next. We then go to Hangman versus Shibata. I loved how this started with Joe getting on commentary, threatening or being imposing towards Tony Schiavone, praising Brian, who quickly, while happily greets Joe, supports Tony Schiavone and says, "You're not going to attack. You're not going to hurt my friend over there, are you?" He says, No, I won't. I love that. And throughout I'll be honest with you. I don't know what match had more intensity and animosity: the matchup in the ring between Shibata and Hangman, or the announce table where Joe was just getting more and more and more frustrated by Brian, Excalibur, and Schiavone. Hilarious, great stuff. The match starting pretty quickly with Hangman just attacking Shibata, just jumping him before things even really get started, taking the fight around the ring in front of the table where Joe is helpless and can't do anything because, as he explained in his promo earlier, if he touches Hangman, he loses his shot on Saturday. So I thought that was a really funny touch. The match itself going a little bit around the ring here and there. Shibata and Hangman just hitting just some great spots on one another, just absolutely hard hitting. Shibata is a striker. He is the strong style is strong in him. And Hangman is no stranger to it. The match going up until the end where Hangman gets the win, gets the 1-2-3 after Rev, just confirm for me, was it a Deadeye or a buckshot lariat? I think it was the buckshot, right? Yeah, that was a great spot too. Rev saying the corner spot with Hangman hung up in the ropes was great. It's just great psychology from two great wrestlers. Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you for reminding me. That was a good spot. Shibata was locking in the ankle lock on Hangman for quite some time. Hangman getting out of it when his boot comes off. He slips out of his boot, setting him up to hit for that buckshot lariat. Fun spot between the two. Hangman he gets it. It's saying Joe was like a giggling child every time Hangman was getting hurt. It was funny stuff. I agree. I really liked it. Rev correcting me. Hangman decked him, caught his boot, and then put it back on. Yeah, it was a fun spot. Joe is just good at everything he does, whether it's wrestling or commentary or promos or anything. He's just one of the best. He gets what the assignment is every time. And he's just such a petty little guy. Love it. Maria saying Hangman is beating Joe at Full Gear. I think so too, but that's the beauty with Joe. You can never really count him out. At any moment, he could surprise you and pull off the sneak win. We saw that with his first AEW World Championship. It's saying good throw and catch by the fellas with the boot. Yeah, that was good. That was good stuff. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not doing this justice. I am running on a little bit of steam here. We are about to hit 1:00. But after the match, Hangman cuts a promo on Joe where he delivers just a banger of a line. Absolutely great. Where he says, the last time I was locked in a cage, if you want to find out what's going to happen at Full Gear, just think about the last time I was locked in a cage with a man in the ring. Referencing his feud with Swerve and all the lengths he went to in that matchup. Great promo by Hangman. I'm not doing it nearly the justice it deserves. Hangman killed it. Joe, I don't want to say look nervous. He didn't, but the proper anger, the proper frustration, and I think slightly the realization of just who he's dealing with. Well done. Nobody should be having coffee at 1 a.m. Come on. Get out of here with that. Hangman had a lot of great lines here, sending Shibata to the dick doctor and referencing Joe and the poncho on commentary. All good stuff. He acknowledged that Joe's going to be alone, that he sent Hobbs to the hospital, and now Shibata to the dick doctor. It was good stuff. It was good stuff. All right, next. All right, we have our next match in the AEW Women's World Tag Team Championship Tournament, our next quarterfinal match, as we had Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir taking on TayJay. Now, let me just say, most importantly, before we get into anything, I know her name is Ty Conti. Can you just be TayJay? It just makes more sense. It's just better. It reads better. It looks better. It's just better. I was upset. I am disappointed. I understand that Megan Bayne and Marina Shafir are the bigger stars of this matchup. I know that they are the ones with the momentum. I know that they're the ones who need to be propelled. But as commentary pointed out, some would say TayJay are the original women's tag team of AEW. Now, granted, maybe you could argue Penelope Ford and the Bunny, but considering one of those women isn't in the company anymore and that team isn't in the tournament, a little frustrating. I appreciate it. I knew this one. Thank you. Yep. No, hold on. Let's just go to these comments real quick. I'm sorry, I missed this before when we were talking about Hangman, so I'll just deal with it really quickly. Maria asking, do I think this second title reign is better than his first? Kinda. It's funny because on paper, Hangman's first title reign, he wrestled Bryan Danielson, CM Punk, Adam Cole, Lance Archer. It was a star-studded affair of matches. So on paper, you'd argue he beat bigger opponents than that first one. This title reign, it's kind of been just stuck a little bit with his defenses. He defended against Mox. He defended against Fletcher, which was new and different. He defended against Joe. And he just got really stuck with the Death Riders. He's been stuck with the Ops. And none of it's been bad, but it's just been a lot of repetition. So on paper, I'd argue that the first title reign was better, but Hangman as a character and as a champion is so much more confident and compelling in this title reign that even though maybe the opponents haven't been as exciting, he has carried himself far more like a champion. He's felt so much more like a good champion that I'm into it. I don't know who else there is that could realistically be an exciting champion for him, challenger for him. That would be like, wow, this is a good feud to really sink my teeth into. But I'm going to go with title reign number 2, personally. So, yeah. Next, it's saying now it's for Danny, yeah. And Maria saying, poor TayJay. Yeah. See? Just not as compelling. Hangman needs Swerve MJF back. I'll be honest, I don't know that it's Swerve or MJF that he needs back. MJF is going to pop his head in. I know. MJF is absolutely going to pop his head in with that contract. I don't think Swerve is the move yet. Maybe, but they spent so much time, not necessarily, I don't want to say reconciling, but coming to peace with one another, and then Swerve being gone for so long that I don't know that it's right for him to just go into a title match or a title feud with Hangman. I don't know. Hangman does need the win. He absolutely does, but I'm not sure if I'm there yet, personally. But my guess, I would say, I know it's me, Jay White feels like a great opponent for Hangman. Because when they wrestled last year, Jay got 2 wins over Hangman. Jay going right for that world title makes sense as far as I'm concerned. And Hangman getting a big win out of it makes a lot of sense. Maria saying Hangman needs Bobby Lashley. That hurts me on a personal level, but that would be hot. I'm here for it. Back to this. I apologize, guys. You guys are just too fun to talk to. Sometimes I get lost in the weeds. Finish of the match coming with Marina Shafir locking in the mother's kiss, right? Mother's milk. God, she just kissed her on the forehead a few times. The mother's milk submission onto Anna Jay and forcing her to not to tap out, but to pass out. While Megan Bayne kept Ty Conti at bay outside. So the bad girls win. I get it. I'm not happy about it. But I get it. Especially coming out of, and we're going to talk about it, the promo. I don't know if we have the banner for it, but I'm sure we do. As we have set up now for this Saturday for Forbidden Door, Jesus Christ, for Full Gear. We're going to have a 4-corner tag team match with all of the quarterfinalists in this tag team tournament. The winner gets to pick the stipulation for the next matchup that they're in. So we're going to get Toni and Mina versus Megan and Marina, which makes sense coming out of Blood and Guts. And thank you, Rev, for having this ready. Toni and Mina cut a backstage promo where they talk about all the possibilities for what match they'll pick, what stipulation they'll pick if they win the Fatal 4-Way. I think Mina ended up saying that she would pick a death match. She said something specifically that I couldn't quite grasp, but a death match, and Toni was all for it. So I think this will be a fun. Yeah, that's what I thought it was, but I didn't want to just say it. A Taipei death match, which Toni got very giddy for. So a lot of stuff going on with the women. Going back to the comments again real quick. Maria saying Jay White should be the guy who takes the title from Hangman. I would be all for that, personally. I think he absolutely needs to win the world title sooner than later, and I think people would be fine with it if he took it off Hangman. The question is if he does it as a babyface or a heel. The last time we saw him, he technically was a babyface. The Bang Bang Gang, for however many members there are technically babyfaces right now, I suppose. But I feel like if he's going after Hangman, he's got to do it as a heel. We'll see. Rev, if you didn't say it, I wouldn't have known. So don't worry about it. All right, what's next, Rev? Very quickly, we had a Kris Statlander video package as she's talking about her upcoming match against Mercedes at Full Gear. It was good. Nothing much to write home about, but yeah. We then had a backstage promo with the Bang Bang Gang, well, 2 of them, as we had Ass Boy number 2 and Juice Robinson, who's acting a lot more juicy lately. The beard's back, the personality's back, the craziness is back. He's really into this concept of winning $200,000 on Saturday in this Fatal 4-Way tag team match. It's the Bang Bang Gang versus the Outrunners versus goodness. Big Bill and Bandit Keith. I forget who the other tag team is. Somebody let me know. But yeah, he's just super into the $200,000. Very, very into the $200,000. It was funny. Let's see, go into the comments real quick. Oh, thank you. It's the Acclaimed. So it's the Acclaimed versus the Bang Bang Gang versus Big Bill and Bandit Keith versus the Outrunners. That'll be a fun one. Man, Bang Bang Gang's not winning. It's going to be the Acclaimed. I don't know. Maybe. We'll see. They're not the Acclaimed. I know. They are, though. They are. Great question from You Know It. Is Juice's gum back is the real question. We'll find out on Saturday. Maria saying Timeless Toni and Mina should win the tag team championships. It could use the star power for the first champions. I guess. Rev has said the same thing. I'm not thrilled with it, but I get it. It should have been an actual tag team. If Chris Leclerc was here, he'd agree with me. It should be Sky Blue and Julia Hart, or it should have been TayJay. Should have been an actual tag team. Or the most sense, it should have been Willow and fucking Statlander. But yeah, no, you're right. It should be Toni and Mina, I guess. I don't even know if it's a Danny thing. I think that might have been a Matt thing. Maybe. I don't know. Yes, the Sisters of Sin first. A tag team. It should have been a tag team. I know that they're a tag team in different ways, but Toni and Mina, but it should have been an established already tag team. All right. We then go to a AEW or to a match between the AEW Unified Champion versus the CMLL World Trios Champion double Jeopardy match as Kazuchika Okada took on Máscara Dorada. This match slapped. Like Okada, like we've talked about it in the past, guys. Okada sometimes has gears to his matches that sometimes it's a little bit slow in the first act, takes a little time to get there, ramps up in the second act, and then the third act is when everything happens. I'd say this was pretty consistent throughout. Dorada brought it to Okada. Okada brought it right back, and the crowd was into it for Okada. Like the crowd was cheering for him, and he's the type of heel, and I love this because sometimes it makes sense with some heels to do it and other heels differently. I do love the heel that loves the adoration of the crowd. Okada's a guy who knows he's the best, and he revels in people thinking he's the best. So I enjoy seeing the occasional heel playing to the crowd, and I don't think he played to the crowd as much as he just enjoyed their attention. Let's go to the comments real quick. Rev saying he thought Dorada died multiple times with some of his bumps. I'd agree. It was a stiff matchup, and I wouldn't expect anything less from a luchador and a Japanese strong stylist. Maria's saying it was a sloppy match effort. I don't know that it was sloppy. Like, there were a couple of instances. Like, I noticed one where Okada had Dorada up on the ropes, and Dorada was going for a countered Hurricanrana. A little missteppy, a little bit. But there was other moments that, like, there was one drop kick near the end of the match where if you told me there was a little mark on Dorada's mask that Okada was supposed to specifically hit, I believe you that he did. It was so crisp. It was right on the chin. It was a great moment. These guys just had great chemistry, and we'll see it again on Saturday. Okada getting the win after a Rainmaker, looking dominant, standing tall, our AEW Unified Champion. It is then revealed on Saturday by Don Callis that Okada will be teaming up with, Rev, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's Hechiseto, but also teaming up, of course, with Takeshita, the returning from Japan Takeshita, going after the CMLL World Trios Championships on Saturday. All right, great point there. I'm sorry I didn't mention it. Guys, I am tired. Okada also hit Takeshita's Raging Fire before he hit the Rainmaker. God, he's such a prick in the best way. Rev also saying sometimes you just got to let those things go with luchadors, and that's in regards to the sloppiness. I agree to a point. they will always show up and show out and deliver and shine in matches, but sometimes they are just sloppy. I think you just got to find the balance. Yeah, I'm glad I was right on this. The Callis family will be Okada, Hechiseto, and a returning from Japan, Takeshita. So that'll be fun. That'll be weird that Okada and Takeshita will be on the pre-show. Weird, but we'll see. I'd love it if they won those titles. I think it'd be hilarious. Great point from You Know It. I was going to get to it. Okada's face, he looked so deflated. He sold it very well, as You Know It said. He looked so deflated when Don made the announcement. He's doing everything he can to get Takeshita out of this family, to get people turning on Takeshita, to just outshine Takeshita. So to constantly be forced to team with Takeshita, oh man, it's gold. It's wrestling and comedy gold. All right, Rev, what do we got next? Was that it? All right, we got our last thing of the night, as we have a Sisters of Sin backstage interview where they take turns delivering their promo. It was very quick. They talk about the sins of their opponents. There were 3 sins, the third being them. At that point, Tekla comes out and says, and just hypes up her girls. It says, if you thought what they've done already is sick and twisted, just see what they have coming next. I'm in on Tekla now. It took me a while, longer than other people. That's on me. I'm in on Tekla. I get it. I'm in. This trio, pretty damn awesome. All right. I wasn't sure if I was just thinking it myself. They're looking and sounding more like the sisters from The Shining. Great point there from Rev. It was so creepy. It was so, they were next to each other. They were speaking in tandem, alternating. It was, but really cool work from these two. There is a deadness in Julia Hart's eyes, and I say this as a compliment. There is just a deadness in her eyes that just really sells that something is missing from this girl. And I say that again as a compliment. Like, it's not that she's doing something wrong missing. It's like she is broken and it is selling this character. Great job from these two. But guys, as Rev pointed out to me, that was it. That was AEW Dynamite and Collision. I very much enjoyed this 3-hour show. Parts of it felt a little choppy. There were some people that I think should have been highlighted a little more as we went into Saturday. But overall, I think everything got touched on. All the major matchups got touched on. And I'm very much looking forward to Saturday, one way or the other. Rev saying that they're his second choice if it's not Toni and Mina. Interesting. I like that. You know, it's saying, good idea, Rev. They should wear the dresses from The Shining. That'll be a Halloween outfit next year, I'm sure. But guys, I enjoyed this. I hope you did. I'm sorry I lost some steam at the end there. Just a little tired. But I had a fun time with you guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Thank you so much for joining Rev and I. There were some definite highlights. I think Mercedes killed it. I think, and Red Velvet killed it. I think the start of the show, I thought the tournament matches were a lot of fun. Not tournament, but like, some of the women's tournament matches, but also the Gauntlet match qualifiers were fun. And yeah, like I said, a lot to look forward to on Saturday. And of course, Kenny's back, the most important thing. But as Rev pulled up and then pulled down, because I'm going back and forth, thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. If you're one of our regulars, you guys know who you are. We love you. Thank you so much for being part of the party. If you're new, and we had some new followers this week. We had a big bump after our Monday Night Raw footage. If you guys haven't seen it yet, go check it out. We appreciate it. We got some fun stuff after the show that most of the at-home audiences didn't see. Thank you so much. You know it. I really appreciate it. Rev really saved my butt. We love you too, man. We really do. And yes, I agree. Even though Rev didn't put it out, get better, Rev. Get better. But yeah, we had some fun footage from Monday at Monday Night Raw. John Cena's last appearance at Madison Square Garden. If you're new and you aren't following us already, please do. We would love for you to be part of the party. We are so close to 2,000 now. Like, I'm getting giddy just thinking about it. And I don't know what it is, but I promise you guys, when we hit 2,000, big things, fun things, giveaways, parties, silly content, we are going to go all out. So let's get us to 2,000. If you have friends who like wrestling who are unfollowing us, suggest the page. If you are one of us already, just stick around. We plan on having a good time with all of you. Also, check us out on social media. I mentioned earlier, Matt was at House of Glory, got some great content. And as always, Rev is killing it on Blue Sky. Danny's killing it on Twitter. I know we have a Facebook. And Instagram is just awesome too. So guys, thank you so much. I'm tired. You're tired. We're all tired. We love you. Go check us out. We'll be back. I'll be back tomorrow for the Gym Pack Zone, possibly MLW. Friday, there's House of Glory in Chicago. Maybe we could cover that. And there will definitely be something Full Gear related on Saturday. No idea what yet. We will figure it out. We will talk it out, but there will be something for Full Gear on Saturday. Have a great night. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Rev, take us home.